What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Monday, May 20th, 2024, and we are back with another midday stream here on the channel. Honestly, this almost wasn't even a midday stream. It was actually going to be a later evening stream because I was kind of busy this morning and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do this, but then I was able to free up time and I switched it to making it a midday stream. So here we are. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and hit the like button, hit the share button. If you're new to the channel, hit the bell twice so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. Shout out to everybody on Patreon. And speaking of Patreon, you got a new Patreon video today. Shout out to all of the members and just everybody in general here in the chat. But before we get into everything, let me acknowledge those who are here so far. We have Firebat, Craig Colson, Reparations Nations, Denise Scales, Joseph Washington, Derry B, Jerry Bedford, Dark Titan, Teresa Givens, Wallow J, Simo 27, Burt Ward, DSM Sinister, Darley, the FM4, James Bond, Kendall, Savion Draco Zero, Cosima Fury, JB Easy, Judah Queen, John Snippy, Patricia Slade, One Mystery, Wilson's 4, Don P. Ben Yehuda. Oh, happy belated birthday to Josie. So you celebrated your birthday last week. Happy belated to you. Casey Malone, The Atavist, Sybil, and AW1. And B First is just came into the chat again. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit that like button. I would appreciate it. So the title of the stream today is called Here is Why the Couch Will Win the Presidency in 2024. Now, the things I'm going to show you today, I had bookmarked or sent or saved on my X account for like almost a month now, because one is an article, the other two are videos, and they were all posted around the same time. And I said, you know what? Instead of me just doing it as a regular, just one-off video, let me go ahead and turn it into a live stream, because this stuff came out while I was on my trip, and they were sent. A lot of stuff gets sent to me or tagged me, and I said, you know what? I have an idea of how I can turn this into a live stream. So the thumbnail says one and the same, and once we go through this stuff, you'll understand why I said this. They're one and the same. Both of them are one and the same. But many of you, I'm dealing with intelligent people over here, so I already know that y'all know what I'm talking about. But the first thing we're going to go over is this article written by the Griot. Now, usually I wouldn't even entertain the Griot, but for the sake of this stream, we're going to entertain it briefly. So we have this article, and it's an op-ed piece. So it's going to be very opinion based, where it says, beware of stories spreading misinformation about Black men being fed up with Joe Biden and the Democrats. So I feel like this is a dig at the new Black media. As a matter of fact, I don't feel that it's a dig. I know that it is. Because there's certain things that you can, when they say certain things, it's like, are they talking about us? Are they talking about us? And we aren't telling anybody, not to go vote. I never told anybody to go vote for nobody. You make that decision yourself. All we can do is put out the information. You go and do the proper research, and then you come up to the resolution yourself of how you want to go with this. And underneath it says opinion. While Black voters' frustrations are real, we can't allow that to be an excuse to let misinformation seep into the ecosystem, our communities, or the ballot box. So literally right here, they're telling you that Black voters are having frustrations with the Democratic Party, but they're going to turn right around and say that should not sway us into not voting for them. Like, what sense does that make? What kind of lopsided logic is that? And it's actually going to lead in, after I get done with this article, I'm going to briefly talk about something that just recently happened, but I'm not going to go too deep into it because I have a whole video dedicated to just that. So this article was written by a man named Antoine Seawright on April 26, 2024. It says, let's be perfectly clear. I'm not new to this conversation. I'm true to it. As much time as I spend talking with local, state, and national elected leaders, stakeholders, grassroots organizers, and party officials, I spend even more hosting and participating in events, in barbershops and beauty salons, churches and community centers, engaging everyday folks across America, where I'm listening a whole lot more than talking. I've even written a few articles here and there about the importance of the Black vote, particularly Black men. Well, I find that to be very interesting because for the last few years, they have been saying that Black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party. Oh, we can't get in without the Black women. And then you just put Black men on the back burner. Remember what happened with Stacey Abrams in that fake so-called outreach she did at that bar or that cigar lounge down in Georgia? I didn't forget that. I said that was so staged. And then what made it even so detached is that she wasn't using everyday Black men. It was mostly famous Black men or well-off to do Black men. I said that doesn't represent the collective of Black men in this establishment, because the majority of Black men aren't in that area. But she made sure to set it up like that, and we see what happened with her. She ended up losing her election. It says, I've even written a few I already read that part. It says, but an article I read the other day didn't remind me, as I've often argued, that Black voters are the most consequential voting bloc in America, or that Black men are positioned to be the most critical swing vote in the 2024 election. Instead, it just further illustrated how quickly misinformation can spread in our community and how damaging that misinformation can be. As I wrote back in August, it's clear that voters of color, there they go, you already messed up right there, voters of color, don't refer to us as that, or just Black people in general. They already screwed up at the beginning of the article, but they definitely screwed up right there. Voters of color. And it says particularly Black men. Just say Black men, because I thought that's who he was talking to. Why did you say voters of color? Are the number one target for misinformation, disinformation, and voter suppression, and the experts tells us that it's only going to get worse in 2024. I don't know if that sounds like an insult, because they said that the number one targets of misinformation and disinformation as if Black men cannot think for themselves. There's a lot of people out there that think Black men are dumb. Really. It's a lot of people out there that think Black men are stupid, but we're not. We're smart enough to see the play, and this right here is nothing but a play, and a bad one at that. It says, now before we go any further, let me make it absolutely clear that I don't pretend to speak for all Black men, much less the entire Black community, yet here we are. That would be more than a little insulting. Too late, you already did that. Furthermore, anyone who spends even a little time in the barbershop will tell you that there's some real frustration out there and even more confusion. Yes, thanks to President Biden and the Inflation Reduction Act, prices are starting to go down, but let's be honest. All you need to do is go to the grocery store and you'll see the affordability crisis. Prices are still high and people are struggling. I get that. In fact, I can identify with it because I'm pretty frustrated myself. The fact is that when Democrats hold a small majority, like we do now in the Senate, so they basically, when that person said, the person who wrote this, who said we, they've now told us what party they are affiliated with. Republicans still use archaic rules and the filibuster to block major legislation. That's exactly what they did with the president's Build Back Better plan and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. And it's pull your hair out by the roots frustrating. Some folks are frustrated, some are angry, some are confused, and some just aren't feeling this election at all. I get that. But, and y'all know what I talk about when I say a but, BS comes right after it, which BS already came before the but, and now it's coming after it too. But we can't let that be an excuse to let this kind of misinformation seep into the ecosystem, our communities, or the ballot box. This person who wrote this Antoine C. Wright, whoever they are, just gave us a whole bunch of reasons as to why we should not vote for them. I mean, I'm already a registered independent anyway, so I'm already locked in anyway. But then you're going to try to come back and say why those who are should. I feel like you're defeating your own argument. For example, the article argues that black men are frustrated with President Biden and the Democrats because they, quote, have to deliver on things like student loan debt relief, police reform, and voting rights. What have I told y'all? I said, if they don't bring these three things to the table, the reparations and tangibles, ending qualified immunity, or an anti-black hate crime bill, we not trying to hear that. But they want to bring up programs and education, basically anything that could affect everybody. No. We don't need anything that's just going to affect everybody, because guess what? When they start affecting everybody, we either get left with the crumbs or dust, or we get shut out altogether. History has shown that. And right now we are in the position of rearranging history a little bit. Rewriting his legacy. The reality is that President Biden has delivered. He has signed more than 24 executive actions to deliver $146 billion in student debt relief for 4 million Americans. Look what you just said. Is that specifically for us? No, you said 4 million Americans. And when you break down that student debt relief thing, it's not all really that it's cracked up to be. That's an everybody thing. What did I just say? Something that's specific for us. But when we say something specific for us, then we are the selfish ones. But everybody else can get something that's specific for them, but then we are the ones that get left out. And we're told that we gotta just be okay with it. They must have forgotten how no one's forgotten. See, now here's where the insults come in. They must have forgotten how President Biden cut undergraduate loan payments in half and helped drop monthly payments for millions of borrowers down to zero. He must not know that earlier this month, President Biden laid out a new plan that will expand the student debt relief to more than 30 million Americans. Of course, none of this would be necessary if GOP officials hadn't led the charge pushing for the right-wing Supreme Court to block Biden's plan to erase $400 billion in student debt, forgiving the debt of nearly all 40 million federal student loan borrowers. Isn't that delivering on student loan debt relief? I'm trying to figure out what black men actually said this. Can someone in the chat actually let me know who was talking about that? And it says, but what about police reform? I hear you asking. Well, we just didn't say about police reform. We said ending qualified immunity. See, that's the trick language. Ending qualified immunity and police reform are two totally different things. Police reform does not stop or end qualified immunity. As a matter of fact, one would argue that ending qualified immunity should definitely be number one on that list if you're talking about the policing thing. And if you want to do the police reform, then that can come later. But the ending qualified immunity, that should definitely be numero uno. It says, well, despite what the article tells us, President Biden has delivered there too. Let's start with the fact that in October 2022, President Biden announced that he was pardoning all federal offenses for simple marijuana possession and calling on governors in every state to do the same. He also started the process for broader decriminalization and rescheduling of marijuana under federal law. But that doesn't matter in this article, does it? How about when President Biden banned chokeholds and no-knock warrants from federal law enforcement? Does that count? And what did that do for Breonna Taylor? What did that do for Eric Garner? Nothing. Since we want to give two examples, those are two examples right there where nothing came of it. That goes back to why I said that we need an anti-black hate crime bill on the books. It says, what about signing the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act to make lynching a federal crime for the first time in history, or creating a national database to track law enforcement misconduct? Maybe President Biden should direct the Department of Justice to go after those brutal cops in departments in cities like Mount Vernon, Louisville, Phoenix, and Minneapolis. But wait, President Biden did that too. See, the tone that the person is writing this in is coming off as it almost sounds like Wet Yam Martin wrote it. Because it's coming off very sassy. And don't get me started. I just imagine that the person who wrote this especially the part where they said, and don't get me started. They were probably neck popping and finger wagging when they said it. It says, and don't get me started about voting rights, because in August 2021, less than a year after the election, the Democrat-controlled House of Representatives passed the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, the most comprehensive measure to strengthen the voting rights since 1965. Every single House Republican voted against it, and once in the Senate, the GOP finally killed it. With the same archaic procedural tactic the segregationists had used back in the 50s and 60s. Later that month, Democrats tried again, repackaging the initiative as the Freedom to Vote Act, but Republican senators pulled the same old trick again. I'm going to need people to go and get that book, The Grift, and read, like really read thoroughly that book from cover to cover. But importantly, President Biden and the Democrats are still fighting with the latest version stuck in committee because the Republican-controlled House won't even let it come to the floor for a vote. Still, the article would have us to believe that President Biden and Democrats haven't made voting rights a priority. That's not only wrong, it's dangerous because it rewards Republicans, the ones fighting against voting rights. Well, we ain't buying it. The article criticizes for not delivering economically. But while the writer admits that under President Biden, Black unemployment is at a record low, he ignores that Black entrepreneurship is at a record high, with new Black-owned small businesses opening at the fastest rate in a generation. Who helped secure roughly $100 billion in federal contracts for small, disadvantaged, and Black-owned businesses? Biden. Who launched new efforts to aggressively combat housing discrimination and protect Black-owned home values, knowing that along with education, home values are the biggest factors in building Black wealth? Who passed the Inflation Reduction Act and fought to expand the child tax credit and cut child poverty in half? Doesn't this read like somebody who's trying to get us to be on their side? That's exactly what it's reading like to me. I don't know about you, but that's exactly what it's reading like to me. And it goes on to say, understand. Oh, I almost read the same part twice. Excuse me. It says, this isn't a game. It says the article wants us to believe that President Biden and the Democrats aren't repairing infrastructure, fixing dilapidated school buildings, or doing anything to invest in Black communities. So I guess Biden invested $1.2 trillion to repair our infrastructure with the bipartisan infrastructure law, which is the figment of our imagination. I guess securing $130 billion to help our schools safely reopen, ensuring high poverty school districts and schools are protected from funding cuts, and investing $7 billion in historically Black colleges and universities doesn't count. And that's another one right there they try to also get Black people with, is them talking about investing into HBCUs, because they do that every time. Both sides, that's a commonality that both of them like to do. It says more Black families have health insurance right now than at any point in history, and we passed the first major gun safety law in nearly 30 years. I'm just going to kind of skip around a little bit. It says a lot has been done, and of course, we still have plenty of work left to do, but let's start there. And I understand that there are some folks who like to pull out the "what has Biden done for us" talking point on the radio or their podcast. Frankly, some of those folks are people I listen to and people I like. But just because a personality said it on the show and you doesn't make it true. They care about ratings. We care about the future of this count. I think they meant to say country, and our community's well-being. And it's to see this election is really a true binary choice, and that choice carries it with some truly high stakes. As I've said on many occasions, Black folks are casting a survival vote, and Black men could be the most consequential voting bloc in this election. Yet, like I said at the beginning of this stream, where were y'all then years ago? They do this. I keep telling y'all, they do this every election cycle. It's literally wash, rinse, repeat. It's like, how do you not see this coming? Like, really, how do you not see this coming? No, Haxon, I moved it up to midday. It was going to be later. It was going to be at 6, but I ended up having some time, so I moved it back up to 12. And it says talk shows talk is what they do on the television, the radio, or the podcast. They have the right to talk, and for the most part, it's entertaining as hell. But to pretend it's news is intellectually dishonest and at best, at worst, downright dangerous. So I feel like, again, that last part definitely was a dig at us. Now, someone in the chat had mentioned about when Biden went to speak at the graduation for Morehouse. And I said, this fell right on time. Because I had told people, I had said yesterday, I said, oh God, I said, watch, he's gonna make it a political thing. And sure enough, that's exactly what ended up happening. But it wasn't through him. It was through the valedictorian. So I'm going to play this small clip from Morehouse's graduation that was yesterday, where he's actually calling for a ceasefire over there at the Morehouse graduation.
And justice. The Israel-Gaza conflict has plagued the people of its region for generations. It is important to recognize that both sides have suffered heavy casualties in the wake of October 7th. From the comfort of our homes, we watch an unprecedented number of civilians mourn the loss of men, women, and children, while calling for the release of all hostages. For the first time in our lives, we've heard the global community sing one harmonious song that transcends language and culture. It is my stance as a Morehouse man, nay, as a human being, to call for an immediate and permanent ceasefire in the Gaza Strip.
And then look at Biden right there, mouth halfway open and he can barely clap. Oh, he's enjoying this. He's like, I didn't even have to get up here and say it. I can get him to say it for me. Now, again, y'all, this is the valedictorian of a HBCU, all black men school. What article did I just read? An article that's saying that black men are being misinformed about the Democrats when it comes to this election. And look at what he's talking about right here. Almost a month after that article was posted, that op-ed, and what are they talking about? What does what he's saying right here have to do with us? I'm talking about us as black men and us as the black collective. What does that have to do with us? I had said yesterday, when I found out that he was going to be the speaker at Morehouse, I said they're going to slip something political in there.
Hear the people of this world sing the song of righteous justice. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the end right there. They could have cut out the last few minutes, but last few seconds, but okay. That's the part. That's the most recent thing that I wanted to show y'all. But there was something else that recently happened too. But I'm gonna touch on it a little bit, and then I'm gonna segue into the other side of this. So recently, Rolling Stone just did an interview with Cardi B. And they basically, I guess I didn't see the interview because I'm not paying for a subscription for Rolling Stone, and I'm not paying to get a subscription just to look and see what Cardi B is saying. But they asked her about Biden and Trump, and she said, I'm not voting for either one of them. F them both. That's basically what she said. That is what she said. Then you had the president of the NAACP, a black man, literally begging on X, basically for her to reconsider what she said, because apparently she has a huge following. I mean, she does. and her words will sway people. Then the next day, I see this other guy basically saying and repeating the same thing that the president for the NAACP said. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, this is absolutely pathetic. I said, what weight does Cardi B have when it comes to this election? So you're telling me if she does not vote in this election, her one vote is going to just going to completely change the trajectory of the outcome of this election, is what you're trying to say. But like I said, I only wanted to touch on that a little bit because that kind of goes with the stream. But I have a whole video that's going to like break that all the way down even further. The video is like almost 20 minutes long, but y'all will see it when I upload it. So now that we've taken care of the one side of the aisle, because remember I said they're one and the same. So if I have to show you one side of the aisle, I have to show you the other side of the aisle. And now, I saw this rather embarrassing video literally around the same time as I saw the that article that I went over. Now, I don't know if I can play the audio because it might be copyrighted, so I'm gonna have to play it with no sound, but y'all can just look at the screen right here. It's this person named Simon Atiba. They said Blacks for Trump release song say Donald Trump is the first black president. They're behind him 500%. Already at the caption, I'm cringing, and the video is only 25 seconds. I'm gonna just let it play, but like I said, I'm not gonna play the sound because it might the music and it might be copyrighted, and I don't want to take the risk. The fact that they call we didn't even like it when they called Clinton the first black president. What makes you think we gonna like calling Trump the first black president? I said, y'all got to be trolling. Look at this. It says the first black president, and y'all recognize this guy right here. Y'all recognize this guy with his greasy ponytail. That guy be popping up everywhere when there's ever something for like dealing with Trump. They got on a shirt that says Blacks for Trump 2020. I don't know what the website is. Blacks for Trump 2020 gods2.com or 2020. Oh, that's the website. Blacks for Trump 2020.com. Okay. That's the website. Who's this old white guy right here? Who was that? I didn't even peep that until just now because I really wasn't paying attention like that. But who was this guy? He looks like one of the Mario brothers. And shout out to AW1 for becoming a member. He looks like one of the Mario brothers. Wow. Okay. Man. And then you got this chick right here who just came out of nowhere and was about to like hump on the lady's back. Now, what I find to be very interesting about this is that you will have conservatives, especially PC ones, that will sit up there and say things like, oh, rap music is ghetto and all this, that, and the third. Yet you have some of them amening this because they're doing a quote unquote rap for Trump. This is what they consider rap. You know what? I posted. Here's the link to the video, so y'all can go and listen to it for yourselves. Like I said, I don't know, it might be copyrighted. That's why I don't have the music playing, so I can get away with just showing the video. But they'll sit up there and say how like rap music is ghetto and all this type of and stuff like that. But they'll okay this. Now I want to know, how is what y'all saw in this video any different than when the Democrats did the whole vax that thing up, the no voting, no bucking, and that other one, get your booty to the polls. How are these two any different? Because guess what? When the Democrats did that crap and we went in on them about that, you had the people who was the Republicans or the conservatives saying how degrading that was, or the Republicans would never do that. What did they just do right here? And I said, even then, I said they talking a little too soon. Because guess what? When the crunch time hits, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to turn right around and they're going to do the same exact thing. I don't know if y'all saw it, but they had, I think his name is Paul Bryan, the country singer. Now we know country music is like, a lot of PC conservatives love them some country music. Why did Paul Bryan, a white country music star, have Sexy Red up there on stage with him at one of his concerts? I mean, they up in there hooping and hollering and having a good time, knowing all the words to her songs. But they'll say that she's ratchet and that she's ghetto, but they loved her when she was at a country show. One in the same people, one in the Luke Bryan. I don't know why I call that man Paul Bryan. Thanks, Angela. Luke Bryan. Thank you. I call that man Paul Bryan. But yeah, exactly. B first is and was mad at Beyonce for dropping a country-esque album. But y'all applaud Sexy Red. And then got the nerve to call Jasmine Crockett ghetto. I'm telling you, the jokes write themselves. They really do. They really do. Now, the one last thing I'm going to show y'all, and then I'm going to drop the link, is this little clip right here of 45. And listen to what he says. Now, remember what I told y'all about ending qualified immunity. Listen to what he says right here. And this is recent. This is not old. This is at one of his recent rallies in Wisconsin.
We're going to rebuild our cities. We're going to bring them back like they used to be. We're going to make them safe places again. We're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution.
Did y'all just hear that? Let me rewind it so y'all can hear that.
Like they used to be. We're going to make them safe places again. We're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution.
He said, we're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution. What did I just say? That we as Black people, well, Foundation of Black Americans in particular, one of the things that we are fighting for, to end qualified immunity. He just told his audience that we're fighting to give them their power back as if they even lost it, and to give them immunity from prosecution as if they don't have it already. So you're going to give them more power and more immunity than they actually need. And this is who they tell us we need to go out and run behind. Exactly, Dark Titan. They never lost it. They always had that power and they always had the immunity. You want to give them more power and more immunity, because we already know who's going to be the primary target. But just know, I said the primary target. I didn't say we would be the only target. See, the thing about the typical conservative, the PC ones and the non-PC ones alike, who are slow in the uptake, is they think that when he says give them more power and immunity, that it's only going to be geared towards us. Like I said, we'll be the primary target, but we won't be the only target. So they're clapping right now, but when it knocks on their front door, then that's when they're going to have a problem. But the only reason they're clapping is because they know who it's geared towards. Let's see what else he says.
So they're not prosecuted for doing their job.
So they're not prosecuted for doing their job. A lot of them were never prosecuted even when they weren't doing their job.
We'll take over the horribly run capital of our country, Washington, D.C., and clean up, renovate, and rebuild our capital city so that it's no longer a nightmare of murder and crime.
Did y'all catch that? A nightmare of murder and crime. Now you already know what cities he's talking about without him even having to say the specific names. Again, y'all, and like someone said in the chat, this is why this happened while he's still on trial. He's still on trial. And they allow him to take a break to go and do the so-called rally. A few breaks, to be honest. That's why I keep telling y'all, left wing, right wing, liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat, two wings attached to the same buzzard. They are indeed the same. And they have yet to prove us wrong as to them not being the same. But I know y'all have something y'all want to say about this. So I'm dropping the link. Feel free to come on up and speak your mind. I know y'all got a lot to say. We got 326 people in here. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. We got 326 in here in the middle of the day on a Monday. I'd love to see it. Of course, the first person up here, Wallow J, what's going on?
What's going on, brother Torian? Chat, everybody in the chat. Yeah, just like everybody said in the chat, the Couch 2024 is running away with the victory for Black people right now, man. I'm sitting on mine right now, convincing me very, very well. Other than what's going to happen in my state of North Carolina, but we're not going to go there right now.
Oh
but.
yeah, you have a big problem, literally a big problem to contend with down there. I'm crossing my fingers for y'all with that one.
Man, it's some PC folks I saw online. Because I'm not trying to distract from the conversation, but here in North Carolina, you know how everybody was doing with the mask and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We have a GOP led House and Senate, and we ain't gonna go all going into that politics realm. Kid Gravity needs to go in there. He'd be fascinated by that crap, but they just try to pass a law where they pass a law basically saying they don't want people wearing masks in public no more.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So everybody was like, wait a minute, y'all begged us to wear these masks in public. Now when people want to wear their masks because they have medical issues, you don't want them to wear them no more. I was like, man, you know what? I said, like somebody said online, I smell a lawsuit coming. I said, yeah. I said, I ain't getting involved in that shit. But
why do I feel like your lieutenant governor is part of that?
Cause he's a fat dumb son of a bitch. But that was the problem one bit. Because last time I saw, he was losing in the polls, but them polls don't mean shit. But November 5th, I want everybody to make sure you got your shit ready, because shit is gonna be very, very interesting that Tuesday going into that Wednesday.
Yeah,
it's gonna be very, very interesting. Good God Almighty, man! It's that's all I can say, and I'm gonna land my plane right there, Torian.
I appreciate that. Shout out to Wallow J for coming up. Next up, we got Jonathan. What's going on?
What's going on, man? I'm gonna try to make this short and sweet. I gotta be at the gym in a bit, but yeah, I saw the news about with Joe Biden, speaking at the Morehouse. The nerve of him to say, y'all remember when Trump's people attacked the Capitol? Imagine there being Black people. I can't even imagine. And I'm like,
why did you even bring Black people into it?
Exactly. Why do you wait until it's time for the voting season for you to come up here and bring that January 6th up to us? I'm like, oh,
because it's an election year. That's when they pull out all of the BS.
Well, this is why you call them politicians, because their trick is to like give us what we so-called value and to give them our needs. And I'm like, no, all this got to stop. The gold sneaker BS, the
Yep.
fried chicken, buying chicken for
Hmm.
black people and all that. Then telling us about how we been mistreated and all that. That's got to stop because all y'all do is talk. Y'all don't have actions. Y'all
Yeah,
don't.
and I'm glad you brought that part up about the chicken and the gold sneakers, because even though I talked about that, that can relate back to here when I was saying how what one group does and how what they get criticized for, when it comes down to it, they're going to do the same thing. So what do? Oh, let's release these sneakers, and that guy that was on Fox News or wherever he was saying black people are going to vote for Trump because black people as a collective like to buy sneakers. Then you had the one with the chicken. Both of them did the chicken thing. So. Yeah, that's why I said they're one and the same. They're doing the same. If people do not see the parallels between both of them, especially right now, that's because you willfully do not want to see it, or maybe you're just blind to it.
Like you said, two wings attached to the same buzzard, and you on what they just did. Proved your point so easily, and it just doesn't make sense at this point. They can't hide their true selves no more because they already know that we figured them out just about. So yeah, the whole thing about them doing, trying to have us vote for them, doing all these tricks and traps, these zigs and zags to get us to vote for them. It's not gonna work no more. Like, we're fed up, we're done. You know what I'm saying? Couch 2024 for me. You know what I'm saying? Any black person who's blind that's gonna vote for them, that's on them. Whatever happens to them, that's going to be kind of on their fault because they should have seen the BS all the way through the 4 years of both of these presidents' BS. I've seen all their years of their BS, so I'm not going to sit there and just take another BS word coming out their mouth. The best thing for black people to do is just stay out the votes, just stay out of everything. Let them and their people do all the voting. Let them do their voting power because typically they go at the end of the day they're gonna be the ones that get all the riches in the end while we out here trying to figure out why we haven't still haven't nothing yet. So
Right.
yeah. Well, that's all I have to say. Nothing else to it. This whole thing just has me fed up with everything that's going on in this so-called country.
Right. I call it an establishment for a reason. I can't remember the last time I called it a country.
It's not even a country. It's Babylon. I'm gonna say it like that. All right, Tori, man. I'm off to the gym. Be one, my brother.
Be one. Shout out to you. Appreciate you, Jonathan, for coming up. All right, next up we got Joseph Washington. What's going on?
Salute, Tarian. Salute to the chat room. Again, I'm happy to see 41 years around the sun. My birthday was last Thursday.
Right. Like I said in chat, happy belated.
I appreciate that. And seeing what's going on, I'm so glad I'm more focused on our cultural cohesion as foundational Black Americans than anything political, because right now they're just blatant with the contempt for us.
Oh yeah.
And the couch is looking better and better each passing day.
Like a good viable candidate.
That's why I cannot wait for the rally for reparations. Oh my goodness. I just contributed to the GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say within if not next week, probably the week before, I'm looking to go out there and just be among the folks.
Did you go to the last one?
I saw that one through one LVZ's stream.
Okay.
And it was lovely to see.
Yeah, I was. I was out there. And
shout out to you for the hoodie you wore for the photo for Revolt TV. I was like, okay, I see you, Tarian, sir.
Yeah, I mean the thing. Well, it worked out perfectly because the weather was nice that day, and it was like it was in November now. Clearly, because it's in June this year, I'm definitely not wearing no hoodie this time. So yeah, I dressed a little bit more comfortable for the weather this time, for the climate. But yeah, I appreciate it. I said that was the perfect hoodie for me to get. I had probably when maybe about 2 weeks before, I had just went online and just looked up some things, and that one just stuck out to me like a sore thumb for obvious reasons. And I ordered it,
Right.
and it came, and I said, "Yep, this is it. This is the one."
Well, I know I'm gonna be comfortable like going out there. This will be really my second time out in DC. The first time was for Jason Black's documentary, but this time
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually coming to a rally that's really for us.
Yeah,
So it's going to be a beautiful thing to see.
yeah,
Anyway, I just wanted to come up here, share my thoughts, and really share, the joy I have with being like, connecting more with our culture than politics, because it's obviously a three-ring circus at this point.
right.
So Couch 2024, Tari and everyone in the chat room, salute. I'll remain locked in until the stream is over.
Right. Appreciate you, Joseph, for coming up. And yes, I will definitely be there in attendance again this time. I mean, it's like going right down the street for me. So if I'm not there, there had to be a really good reason for me not to be there. And it's crazy because the last time there was a lot of people there, especially for it to be short notice because of everything that was going on. So I imagine it's going to be a lot more people out there this time because it's very on notice and it's in the summertime. So listen, I predict there's going to be a huge turnout next month. I'm calling it now. All right, next up we got Xavier. What's going on?
Hey, salute, Torian. B1.
B1.
Yeah, so this, I think I have an admission to make. I'm probably one of those people who was also kind of brainwashed about politics back in the day, like when I was younger. So I used to think, oh, the good guys are the Democrats and the bad guys are the Republicans because, my parents. But then as I grew older and then I got introduced to the new black media like you, I started to understand that, man, there's no good guys in this story. On the one hand, you have a party that is way too weak to even do anything, or they pretend to be weak. To be fair, to be honest, I think they just serve the same master, but using different tactics. The Democrats are more they're more um, what's the
Covert,
word?
like covert.
Yeah, covert. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Exactly. They're more covert with their racism, and it only comes out. It only comes out when they see that their so-called tokens aren't falling in
Yeah.
line.
And it's crazy
But
too
then,
because when you think about the book, The Grift that I went over, it was reversed at one time where the Democrats were more overt and the Republicans were more covert. Now,
yeah,
over time, that's one thing I liked about that book is because not only did it talk about, of course, the grifters, but it also talked about how the parties flipped over
switched.
time.
Yeah.
Like back in the late 1800s, the Republicans, where the Democrats are now is where the Republicans were, and where the Democrats are then is where the Republicans are now. So
Yeah, exactly.
right around, I would say right around like maybe the 50s or the 40s or somewhere around there, that's when the shift started to the switch from one side to the other. That's why I said they're two wings attached to the same bird, because even though one side was one way at one point, the other side was one way at one point, even though they switched, they still hold those same core values, especially when it comes to us. They just switch sides. So that's why I said they're two wings attached to the same buzzard.
Yeah, and it's sad because honestly, if the Democrats really wanted to win every single election, they just do and they just all they had to do was just do right by black people, and that's easy landslide every single year. But but the thing is, and I know I keep referencing Phil Scott, but he was like the first new black media person I that got me into like all this stuff. I really opened my eyes to this whole thing, and he once said that uh, the WSPC people they take racism racism more important to them than food.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
they would.
That's at the top list. That's at the top of their list. They
Mhm.
will literally they will literally they will literally throw their own families into the fire to protect
Yeah,
it.
even
If it
even
comes
them
down to it.
even themselves, like to the point where that's part of the reason you don't have um, what's it called, free medical health care, because they feel that if anybody who isn't white can benefit from it, then nobody gets it. So
Mhm.
and this is even the people pushing. I mean, we know the Republicans don't even want anything to do with that. All they care about is, money. But the Democrats who claim to want to care about any of the so-called progressives, they're the ones who usually just, oh, they tie their own hands and then they say, hey, look what the Republicans did. Oh, they're not letting us do this. They never push. And it's really unfortunate, because I think even the black people, the especially the Congressional Black Caucus,
Oh
they
God.
really lost their way. They needed, if we had very strong, powerful voices in that caucus and throughout all the old bootlicks, just retired them once and for all, I swear to you, things would get done. Until that happens, it's just going to be, because if you think about it, every other group has like a caucus that appeals for them in government. Like
Mhm.
the Asians have it, the Latinos have it
Specifically for them, like
for them.
they're
Hmm.
not going across the board for all these other groups and then putting the group that you're supposed to be the caucus for in the back burner.
Exactly.
That's what the CBC has literally become.
Become, yeah,
Just like when I was doing my Black Massacre series, and the various stories I was talking about, they were mentioning the NAACP a lot. That's why I said the NAACP of then is way different than the NAACP of today. I mean, clearly, I just gave you the example
for
where you had the
sure.
president trying to convince Cardi B not to say what she said. But back
That
then,
was sad.
but back then, the NAACP was actually for Black people. Like when Black people was actually going through some stuff, they was right there to give them some assistance, funding, all kinds of stuff.
Hmm.
Now, I
Hmm.
don't know. Like I said, I don't know when that shift changed, but
Oh, it
it
was
didn't.
money.
Yeah,
It was it was money.
it pivoted into the wrong direction, unfortunately.
Yeah, it all has to do with greed in the end, unfortunately. Like, and then when you start letting other groups in, and then they start to kind of make the whole, they kind of derail the whole discussion from what's specifically for Black people. They start to bring in us, everyone, and this whole POC thing. They should keep it for other people. Like, talk about Black people specifically, and I'm glad that it's being more it's more pronounced now, thanks to folks like you in the new Black media. And I just think it's going to continue to grow. Sorry, I know I've gone on for too long. I know other people are
Yeah, you good.
on the line. Yeah, but last thing I want to say is, at the end of the day, the I think the main thing that Black people should understand is, the the vote is powerful only when you ask for, you put it at a cost.
Hmm.
You can't give your vote for nothing. You don't see any other group doing that. If the Asians ain't going to do that, the Latinos ain't going to do that, no other group. So why should Black folks do the same? And then once you put their feet to the fire, eventually they will break. And I think that's the best thing. So yeah, November 5th is going to be quite interesting to see how that plays out,
Oh,
because
definitely.
they don't see it coming. They're all going to learn. So, anyways, thanks so much for letting me come on.
Nope, no problem.
Appreciate you bringing me up. Yeah, B1.
B1. Shout out to Xavier for coming up. Next up, we have D Dub 3000. What's going on?
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I just want to say it's a very educated room. I'm looking at the comments. I agreed a lot of what he said, but I wanted to add to the conversation, and it's just saying, like, that's what makes you so powerful. What you're saying is politically educate ourselves
Hmm.
so that we're, I mean, because to see these guys out here, for Trump, and Trump blatantly, I'm here in Atlanta area, right? I
Okay.
lived in Fulton most of life. So what people don't realize is that's giving a vote for him, and that's voting for a police state. Because if you have absolutely, the prosecution against police is very, very low. Like it's very hard to convict an officer on duty.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's a fact. And then now you want to give them immunity and you want to go vote for that. It is time for us to not just be comfortable. As I vote is too. There's nothing to vote for. You don't vote. Mm-hmm. You take action. I have to take that accountability. We all have to. We don't have. One thing I want to say is just we don't have the luxury to sit back and do this. And to see Biden come down here to Atlanta and to see the schools, and they also didn't want no one there to protest. They didn't want no one to say, and that's the problem we have in our community. It's time for us to call these folks out. You either are with us or you're against us. Because they are circumvented, like y'all just mentioned, the CBC. They're circumvented and they're in cahoots with NCAA. These don't have our interests. It's time to disassociate, and let that voice be heard and say, hey, you don't represent us. Definitely. You don't represent our interests. These are our interests, and I'm down with that. I'm going to look into the reparations rally. That's what's needed. That's what's owed. That's what needs to be done. No one else is going for symbolism, benign neglect, in statues and monuments. And this is the type of stuff we'll continue to get, and nothing will change until, like Claude Anderson said, we can lock ourselves into a permanent underclass. And so we have to have, people like you speaking up, the real grassroots, not the AstroTurf, not these people who are, on there and they say they represent us, say they down with any of them. You just know that they're not real. They don't care. They're not vested. They're not on the ground. They don't. Yeah, I just that's what I'm doing now, and I encourage everybody. It's very intelligent. Everybody's own code, own part. They know what's going on. Thanks to you, Professor Black, all the the new Black media, everyone is just doing it. I just want to say thanks and just say like this is what we have to stand on. I'm not going for and I had to get in this conversation with a family member about the Trump versus the Biden, and they think a lot of people. What's upsetting to me is a lot of people think there's a difference between the two. It's not. It's really not. The only, like I said, the only difference. I said the only difference to me is the tone. But they're saying the exact same thing. Like I said, one could be covert. Honestly, both of them have been overt. It's just the way in which they're saying it. That's why I said you got to really sit back and listen and examine what it is that they're saying. That's why I made this stream, because I said I need people to understand and see they're both literally doing the same exact things. Exactly. And so I got in this conversation with him, and he was like, "Well, if we have reparations, that's a handout, right?" Mm-hmm. I let them keep building it, and that's something that happened to them. Most people gonna go blow it, blah blah blah. I let them keep building, and see what he didn't know. I said, "Well, when the last time you heard someone complain about the reparations you pay to this very day for what happened to Native Americans and the Native Americans get to this very day?" Very day, you paying to it. And he had to shut up. He said, and then I said, what about the Holocaust? It didn't happen here. And you can't even speak bad about it, but you can get up here and say the N-word and say all kind of negative anti-Black stuff about us all day long. They just rolled back. I think Judge Mathis was on Instagram talking about how they rolled back a law saying you couldn't do any federal funding specifically for us, for Blacks, Latinos, nothing. And he was real upset. He was like, this is a rollback. So, but these are the type of people, our folks, is getting up here, and it's very upsetting, saying we don't need reparations. And those are the folks that we need to openly challenge and shut them down. They're wrong. We want our reparations. If you don't want yours, you go over there, but you don't speak for us, because we want substantive change, not just, I didn't ask for an apology, because it wouldn't be sincere anyway, but they can cut the check for all of it because that's what's owed. Well, I'm sorry to go on it. Yeah. You good. Sorry. Was that it? Yeah. Sorry. I'll land my plane there, and I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you. All right, no problem. And also to go on with what was being said, you had one of the survivors of Black Wall Street just had her 110th birthday yesterday. Same day as Malcolm X. And she nor her descendants or anybody else who was affected by it, who might still be alive,
have yet to receive a dime from what happened. But you have these individuals who say, "Oh, you can't get paid for, we can't give you reparations for slavery because you weren't a slave." 1921, that's post-slavery. Where's their check? Where's the check for the people that was affected by MOVE in 1985, if you want to get a little bit more current? Exactly. Next up, Defiant. What's going on?
Hey Torian, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
I had to sit there and think what I was going to say, and I said, you know what? This might sound a little bit weird, but I'm not even going to get on the white supremacists anymore. I'm going to start getting on the old generation, and the reason why I say that is, you see you young black folks suffering out here, and Phil Scott said back in the day, one parent can work one job, have a house, have a car, while the wife can stay home, and everything was good as long as everybody got what they wanted. But when young black folks, as the time came along, that start moving up and things start getting harder and harder, they still kept voting Democrat, 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 no matter what happened. And I sat out the last two elections. I sat out the one with Hillary Trump, and I sat out the one with Trump and Biden. I said, I'm not voting in this one. And these black folks still went out there and voted for him, and I don't understand. And this man sat here, wrote the crime bill, and bragged about it. Now I get it; that stuff came out later. But when you see it, why were you think in your right mind that he was ever going to change and actually do something? And to sit there, let alone knowing that black folks are suffering, they don't have it like the previous generation had it. We don't have it like that. They got their Social Security check, they got their Medicare, they got their retirement, they got their house. What about us? And they sit there and sit their asses here and continuously to vote this way. And then when they want to get mad at the young generation who says, I don't want to be a part of this. You sit there, this one lady was on a while back, was yelling at her child because she didn't want to vote. Her child didn't want to vote Democrat. And I sit here and say, we have to start checking our people, man. This is ridiculous. This is our life. This is it. This is it. Dr. Claude Anderson said, and it's recited constantly what TD said, man, by 2050, if you don't have your stuff together, you done. And we've seen it in fast track full time. They said they didn't have money for Black Americans for years. I used to hear it all the time. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps while you steal the bootstraps. But you give all these illegal immigrants $9,000 checks. You give these folks Medicare, Cali medical. We don't get no type of medical. And you say, oh, you make too much money. After taxes, how am I making too much money? I'm one check away from being homeless. For a lot of people. And you sit there, you see them all set aside, get all these privileges. And you sit there, people here in Oregon, we felt bad. So, we don't want people to go to prison and come out worse just because they're using. But then they failed to put they said, oh, we gave them a choice. It's a choice. What do you mean it's a choice? So what they did to black folks, they don't want them to do it to their own people. And so I come to the point, I said, this is none of my business. It has nothing to do with me. But when you see those interest rates sky high, when you fill up your tank, when you see your gas bill going through the roof, when you see a sister who get her property taxes so high that she can't even afford to live in her own home, and everybody's trying to do it the right way. So at some point, I'm rambling, but I'm trying to make a point that we have to start looking at our own folks, man. I love my grandma. I love them all to death, but sometimes your parents could be wrong. And my mom said she's not voting this. She said I'm sitting on the couch.
You know what it all boils down to when you think about the past generations, like maybe our parents and grandparents. One word: integration. For me, that's what it boils down to. When that happened, that was it. That was the beginning. That was the beginning of the end. Many of them didn't see it at that time because it was fresh. So at that, when something is new, it's all shiny, it's nice, it's appealing to the eye. But then as time goes on, you start to see them side effects. I'm like, wait a minute, something is off here. And here we are. So I think that's what it is. I've always said that integration came way too early. It wasn't organic. It didn't naturally happen. It was very artificial. Now, I said that if we would have ever integrate, because I truly believe integration was going to happen eventually, but it should not have happened that soon. I said it should have happened more naturally, and then I believe that it would have looked, the infrastructure would have looked different. But because it happened so prematurely, that's what ended up messing stuff up. Because remember, we was doing fine. Like, as Black people in America, we was doing pretty much like, doing our stuff on our own. Of course, we were still dealing with Jim Crow. Like, that was our huge stumbling block. Like right there was Jim Crow. But then when you tack on integration on top of a lingering effect of Jim Crow, when Jim Crow was kind of starting to try to fizzle its way out, but it wasn't all the way out, then it's like, and then now you still see the effects even of it to this day.
Right. And we thought it was all gravy, but then, like you said, it wasn't organic. And when I think about what you're telling me, I say, yeah, you're right. Because Dr. Claude Anderson, I started following his stuff over 10 years ago. I just stumbled onto it.
Yeah.
And I started I wanted to seek truth. And that's why I learned about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and all those things. And he predicted integration was worse because when we were segregated, we knew that we were by ourselves. We were on our own. We had to get it out the mud, and we still do. But then you really sabotage because you're spread out, and and people just get to do anything they want to do with you. And when I think about the Congressional Black Caucus, I really want to punch him in the face. I want to punch every last one of them in the face. That's how. Let me reiterate. That's how I feel. So I want to punch Al Sharpton in the face. I want to punch Rolly the Boule Bird in the face because these folks sat there and benefit off the suffering of Black people, and they knew everyone. Last one of them motherfuckers knew what was being done, and they did nothing. But nothing ever is going to happen to them. They get to go back in the community. They get to walk around like shit don't happen, like they stuff don't stink. And that's what irks me the most. That's what bothers me the most. And we're living in the age of information now. We don't have an excuse anymore. And I feel sorry. I feel bad for the sister. She's 110 years old. She's still fighting to get reparations for her grandchildren. And that damn judge sat there and accepted for the case to go through, to turn around and throw it out without prejudice. That hope. And none of those folks never been prosecuted. And some of their families are living up in those nursing homes right now. I bet you some of them living up in those nursing homes right now have memorabilia and all stuff like that. But they don't do nothing for Black folks. But when it comes to Jewish folks, they found some type of way to get some prosecution. They'll roll a Medicare bed up to that courtroom, but you don't get no justice. You get no justice,
and then expect us to stand by that.
Yeah,
the nerve.
And I'm gonna land my plantorian. That's why I put this icon of defiant. That's how I feel sometimes. But
hey,
you guys,
you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Peace, guys. Bye.
All right. The last person we're going to bring up, I already know who it is, but I'll play along. But before I bring them up, shout out to DDub3000 for becoming a new member of the channel. And also shout out to FBA Queen for the 10. She said, thanks for all of your hard work. I love the new Black media. I am a senior. Talk to your families. It works. Hashtag vote couch 2024. Appreciate it. Roland Martin unfiltered gravy. I already know who this is.
FBA, ADOS, B1. Where y'all at? I ain't seen none of y'all in Atlanta yesterday. Where's y'all reparations at Morehouse?
Is that what he was? Was that what he was saying or sounding like?
No, that he'd say some stupid shit like that. Why wasn't FBA and B1 at Morehouse? If you don't like Biden so much, why y'all wasn't asking no questions?
Mm-hmm.
nigga, because we actually give respect to them young brothers out there trying to get their thing. We're not gonna go in there and fuck up their stuff. What is wrong with you, sir?
I said to this day, as far as it comes to Morehouse's commencement speeches, ain't nobody topping what Robert F. Smith did.
Oh yeah,
I'm standing by that one.
oh yeah. No, that was a great gesture. I mean, Pinky from Slutty Vegan is a number 2, but it's a far number 2. But you November 5th. Boy, Torian, have you noticed they're all crashing out right now? Everybody.
Oh yeah. I saw. I really can't wait for the stream you're doing today, because that dude, man, I didn't realize you like y'all was going back and forth like that until you had sent me the DM.
Bruh, DJ, I can't. You know what? Fuck it. When y'all see who was bigging him up, bruh, this is what I'm. You know what? I got to get on camera for this one. Who's worse, the grifter or the supporter? Boy, when y'all see that tweet, man, and who was tweeting them? Oh my God.
I told people, I keep telling y'all, when I asked that question the first time, everyone said the grifter was worse. I said, give it some time and stuff, and you'll start to see why I said the supporter is worse than the grifter. And it shifted. Everybody now says, Torian, I understand what you're saying. I see what you mean. The grifter, the supporter is definitely way worse. Way worse, especially over on X.
They got some new one over there in that FBA space. What they call Torian Rain. Nigga don't never show his face on cam. Where you at, nigga? Y'all big and bad out here. Where y'all at? Y'all wasn't down here in Atlanta.
Wait, hold up. But wait a minute. If you're gonna do him, you gotta butt the eyes.
Democrats hire me.
Because on this platform, you know he likes to say, on this
platform, we deliver the hard-hitting journalism that you expect when you donate to me. We in financial trouble, but I know y'all gonna come out and support real journalism, not like them B1 cats over there that sit all day in their house.
And you know he
just
be sitting
talking
up there
online.
He'd be up there trying to sit there and cross his arms, the rest on his D cups.
You good, yo. Y'all would have fell out if I got up. Started pacing around. Y'all would have fell out. Let me tell you something. When I get my house, I'm building a studio, bro. I'm going to troll all these people, bro.
Nice.
But back to this. Did y'all like the Kente? I ain't had no dashi.
Did you get that? Did you get that from Nancy Pelosi?
It came recommended on Amazon from her. They said Nancy Pelosi did buy it.
I'm still laughing at that when she took a knee and she needed help getting up.
Shit.
And she needed help getting up. I said, yeah, she about to go ice them knees. She ain't gonna be able to work for the rest of the day.
Am I allowed to put my Cash App in there so y'all can donate to the new Sprinter van?
Great.
Rolling Martin Unfiltered Gravy is going on tour for the election cycle. We're gonna be in a city near you. First off, we're gonna start off at a place that is near and dear to my heart. Alexandria City, North Carolina. We going back. They will not run Rolling Martin Unfiltered Gravy off the block. And then after that, we going back to outside New Orleans, and we will pay homage to the old Sprinter van. Because you B1s were laughing at me. But we're going to show you Rolling Martin Unfiltered Gravy is back and better than ever. Donate to the Cash App.
Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to that stream today. I don't even want to say
God,
who. I don't even want to say who it's on. Like, y'all just gotta make sure that y'all are there. I think you're going live at 3, right?
3:00.
I was waiting for that when I saw the back and forth, and then I saw the little window pop up, and I saw the title, and then I put 2 and 2 together based on the conversation, if you want to call it that. And I was like, "Oh, this is going to be good. I cannot wait."
I got so much information. I'm
it's just this one person, right? Or is it more than one?
No, because it was just him.
Okay,
but we gonna get the supporters too, but we're gonna have to really start educating motherfuckers, because I'm telling you, these Bush babies. Let me warn y'all now, family. I've been saying this on Twitter a lot. These Bush babies are going to be a problem after this election. I'm telling you, the kids that graduated from 06 on, it's going to be a problem. Wait a minute, that might be the FBI. That might be Roland coming to get me. Hold on. I thought it was Roland. Roland has a history of popping up on people.
If it was
like Khalid Muhammad.
No, if it was Roland, your house would have been shaken.
And thoroughly trouncing them, allegedly. And he makes Candace Owens run off the block, allegedly. Okay. Yeah. We know he ran from Jason Black, but that's another subject for another day. But yeah, 3:00. Am I allowed to put the link in the?
You can go ahead.
Yay!
You crazy.
I just didn't want to put it in there I did put the link for the Griff book in there too.
Right. Yeah, so definitely. People, y'all need to read that book, The Griff by Clay Kane. You can go and get it. I think he probably has it on his website, but you can also get it on Amazon. It's a really, really good book. You can either get the hard copy or the Audible version. Either way, it's a very, very good book. One of the best books I've read so far this year. And Wallow J said pause, and I was ready to say it too because I was like, you didn't even catch it.
What did I say? I
don't even want to say it.
You can allude to it.
Sausage party. Pause.
I did.
Yes.
Huh. My bad.
You didn't even catch
realize
it.
I said it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, everybody. Yeah, I'll take that. Pause. But yeah, 3:00 is gonna be 3:00 is gonna be so much fun.
I gotta ask you this.
Yes,
KG. What is your schedule looking like tomorrow at 6?
Plantation, unfortunately.
Damn.
Plantation. Yeah. Yeah. They gave me yesterday and today off, so I have to work for the rest of the week. But I don't have to go to work till like 1:30 until the weekend, and then I gotta go in at 11. But hopefully in the next couple months, that's gonna be over. If everything works out.
The reason I was asking is because that's the subject matter of a particular game is tomorrow's evening stream.
Ooh,
that's why I was asking what was your schedule like tomorrow. Because the thing is, I'm gonna be unavailable from Wednesday all the way through Friday, so I have to do it tomorrow because I don't want to prolong
cool,
that
man.
discussion.
Do your thing. Hey, look, you've been putting in the work. That's great.
So the video is still going to come, but like the live, it's only two. It's only going to be 2 lives this week.
Yeah,
this one, and the one.
Hey, Kelly Goodman, you gotta click in tomorrow. You gotta click in tomorrow. Then you'll know the game.
Some people in here, some people already know what I think Joseph Washington probably knows, but based on his response to what I said,
the game.
People think I'm talking about Caitlin Clark. No, not that. No, not her. Not her. Y'all will see it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's been a heavy topic for the last few days.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Kelly said they got it. They know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna get ready for that stream and finish frying this chicken. No Terrence K. Williams.
Oh, someone actually had said something about him. They said, isn't it amazing that every time he's promoting the food that he has, like the chicken and the pancakes or whatever, it's already made? Like they said, when are we going to see a video of you actually making the pancakes and the chicken that you
I did see one. He had the chicken already frying. So it is what it is. But still, November 5th, he gonna need all the drumsticks to hide the anxiety he's gonna feel, because I'm already gonna tell y'all now that election is not gonna be finished that night. I promise you it's not.
Oh yeah. They gonna prolong that one.
Yes.
This is okay. Do you think this is gonna be on par with 2000? You know how long? You know how?
Yeah, no, because that involved the court case, like immediately. So
it took them months before they finally declared Bush the winner.
Yeah, I would say probably close to what happened in 2020, maybe like 2 days instead of like 5.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, but that night they're gonna be like, maybe the next day they're gonna be like, we didn't see a lot of African American turnout. What did we tell y'all for a year? Vote the couch. You thought we were playing, okay?
Oh, the couch is definitely. Listen, the pen will go to the couch.
Facts. Let me tell you something. You know how much reparations gonna be on the third ballots? Reparations, Couch. What's the other one? Kendrick Lamar. Not Like Us.
Oh, speaking
Bro, they're gonna
of,
violate this one.
no,
They
did
gonna
you see?
violate?
Have you seen them? The stuff what they've been doing with that AI music, like turning the songs they sound like Motown songs.
Yeah.
You gotta hear the one that they did with the
Marjorie.
Jasmine.
Yes, sir. I listened to it last night.
I played that song like 10 times in a row last night. I don't know if it wasn't. I don't want to take the risk and say if it's a copyright or not, because if it wasn't, I would have played it on the stream so the people could hear
it's probably not.
But man, I don't know how they're doing that, but it's amazing how they are taking those songs up to date and making them a Motown sounding song. Like that's crazy how they did it. But that song right there had me dying last night.
Oh yeah, and then I thought they over there making her the biggest Democrat going into the DNC. You see that?
Yeah, right? Yeah, she won the weekend with that.
And watch,
and I found myself going back and consistently watching that clip over and over again.
Mm-hmm. And watch, she gonna watch old MTG TD's big homie gonna be at the RNC talking shit about black people. Wow.
They already gave her a nickname, B6.
B6. We B1, you B6.
I said she could have been
pounds.
Hey, listen, she could have been B7 if she threw in one more critical B.
Yeah, but you know she might have got censored if she did that.
Yeah,
but that's what you get for doing videos with white supremacist rappers. That's what you get.
Oh yeah, that was cringe,
wasn't it? But this is the Tom McDonald crowd. What do you expect? They think that's the epitome of hip hop. Okay. And he can't get on no platforms. Okay. Where's your conservative Griff Awards? Where are those? Them hoteps don't even call them to be like, yo, come over here and do a performance. But let me go finish frying this chicken.
All right.
Let me get ready for 3:00. Please be there for 3:00. I'm begging like Roland.
Like Keith Sweat?
No, like Roland. Anyway, y'all, take care, stay safe, and you know what to do when the agents of chaos come to mess up your existence. Always stay on code.
Right. All right. Shout out to KG for coming up. And before we get up out of here, well, first off, shout out to AW1 for becoming a new member, the fundraiser, FBA Queen, and DW 3000 for the contribution, and DW 3000 for becoming a new member, and also the contributions from those who sent me cash apps. I believe it was 2 of them. Shout out to you. But before we get out of here, just a reminder, this evening on the For the Culture podcast channel that is ran by Afro Elite ZZ and Black Alpha, we will be discussing the fundraiser for the Rally for Reparations this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I just put the link right there in the chat so people can go over there and have their notifications turned on. Please do that, because that is where I will be at tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Shout out to everybody who came through this today. I say this evening, this afternoon. Shout out to everybody who contributed, everybody who came up and spoke, all of that good stuff. The 11 a.m. premiere video will be tomorrow, and also there will be a 6 p.m. live stream tomorrow. Some of you in the chat already kind of figured out what it is I'm going to be discussing. That is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for the last couple of days. I just didn't know when I was going to do it, but I said since my time is limited this week, I said let's knock it out tomorrow and let it be in the evening. That's the best way to do it. So that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe and be one.